The alley smells like rain and gasoline. You're standing under a dim streetlight in Palermo, midnight silence. A car idles at the corner, two men inside, watching. Your hands are shaking, but you hide it in your pockets. Across from you, a heavy wooden door opens slightly, a voice from the darkness. Are you ready to prove loyalty? You nod. You don't know exactly what they'll ask you to do tonight, but you know one thing for certain. Once you step through that door, you don't walk back out the same person, because the Sicilian Mafia isn't just a criminal organization. It's a ladder. And every step up that ladder costs something. The real question is simple. How far could you climb before the system consumes you? Human beings love hierarchies. Armies have ranks, corporations have titles, even social groups quietly organize themselves into invisible ladders of influence and power. But few hierarchies are as brutally honest as the Sicilian Mafia. Here, status isn't earned through resumes or meetings. It's earned through loyalty, silence, and risk. Every position in this system changes you. At the bottom, you are expendable. In the middle, you begin to taste power. At the top, you control everything. And yet, strangely, the higher you climb, the less free you become. Tonight, you're going to step through every level of this world. From the invisible street runner to the man whose whisper can end lives, you'll see how power reshapes the mind. Why loyalty often hides fear. And why the most dangerous position in the mafia is the one at the top. Your story begins at the lowest level. The outsider, you're not part of the family. Not yet, you're what they call an associate. Your daily life is simple but dangerous, running errands, delivering envelopes, watching storefronts, collecting debts from people who suddenly remember they owe money. You're useful, but not important. If the police show up tomorrow, no one inside the organization will risk anything to protect you. Because at this level you're not trusted, you're being watched, everything you do is a test. Your discipline, your silence, your ability to handle fear. Most people imagine crime as chaos. But real organizations operate with strict structure, and structure demands patience. So you wait. Weeks turn into months. Every job is slightly more serious than the last. You begin to understand the rules. Never talk too much, never ask questions, and never forget who holds the power. Psychologically, something subtle begins to change. At first, you feel nervous working for dangerous men, but slowly their world starts to feel normal. Humans adapt quickly to power structures, especially when survival depends on it. Then one day they call you in, the room is quiet, a candle burns on a small table, a picture of a saint sits beside it. The ritual is ancient, you prick your finger, a drop of blood stains the card. The oath is simple. Your loyalty now belongs to the family, above everything else. You are now a soldato. A soldier. And the rules just became permanent. Life as a soldier is different. You now represent the mafia directly. Your responsibilities grow heavier. Extortion collections, enforcement, protection rackets, sometimes violence. But what defines this level isn't brutality. It's obedience. Orders come from above and they're rarely explained. A business owner refuses to cooperate. You're told to send a message. Someone inside the organization is suspected of betrayal. You're told to take care of it. In this world, hesitation looks like weakness. And weakness attracts danger. Here's the psychological shift. At the bottom, you feared the mafia. Now you're the mafia. People look at you differently. Store owners greet you nervously. Neighbors lower their voices when you pass. Power begins to feel intoxicating. But there's something most outsiders don't understand. A soldier has authority, but almost no freedom. Every move is monitored. Every mistake is noticed. Because the higher ranks are watching you the same way they once did when you were an associate. And failure here has consequences. If you mishandle money, embarrass the family, or bring police attention. Punishment is swift. Sometimes brutal. The system survives by removing weak links. Most people think power gives you control. It doesn't. It gives you enemies. But there's another reason soldiers endure this pressure. Promotion. Because above the soldiers sits the first real taste of influence. The capurgime. The captain. And when the family decides you're ready, everything changes. The day you become a captain, the room feels different. Not louder, quieter, because now people listen when you speak. A Capurgime doesn't just follow orders. He gives them. You control a crew of soldiers and associates. Their operations become your responsibility. Loan sharking, construction scams, gambling rings, smuggling routes. Money flows upward through you. This is where the mafia begins to look less like street crime and more like corporate management. Your daily life becomes a strategy. Who collects what territory? Which businesses are pressured? Which politicians are quietly influenced? You sit at tables where real decisions are made. But power has a strange psychological effect. The more authority you gain, the more fragile your position becomes. Because captains compete. Quietly, respectfully, but constantly. Each crew wants to earn more. Control more territory. Gain more favor from the leadership. And the truth about hierarchies is uncomfortable. When people compete for power, loyalty becomes flexible. Respect can quickly turn into rivalry. So while your influence grows, so does the pressure. If your crew makes mistakes, it reflects on you. If profits drop, questions begin. If a soldier under your command attracts police attention, you're responsible. Your freedom now depends on the discipline of dozens of other men. And that's the hidden pressure of leadership. Control expands, but so does accountability. Most people imagine the captain's life as glamorous. Nice suits, expensive dinners, authority. But the reality is quieter. Long conversations in back rooms, constant calculations, and the slow realization that every man at the table could become a future rival. Above the captain sits the next layer, the consigliere. If captains manage operations, the consigliere manages wisdom. This role isn't about territory or crews. It's about judgment. The consigliere is the advisor to the boss. A strategist. A mediator. Someone trusted enough to speak honestly when others remain silent. That trust is rare. Because power creates a dangerous psychological shift. The higher someone rises, the fewer people dare to disagree with them. And leaders who hear only agreement eventually lose perspective. That's why the consigliere exists. You become the voice that analyzes risk. The one who warns when violence would create unnecessary enemies. The one who negotiates disputes before they become wars. Your daily life becomes conversations. Quiet meetings. Careful words. Influence without spectacle. But there's a hidden burden. You sit close enough to power to understand its dangers. And power always carries paranoia. Because above you sits the man everyone fears. The underboss. Second in command. The operational heart of the organization. If the boss is the symbol, the underboss is the engine. He supervises captains, resolves internal conflicts, ensures money flows smoothly through the entire family. Every major operation passes through him. Which means every problem does too. Your phone never stops ringing. Arrests. Disputes between crews. Rumors of betrayal. Threats from rival families. The underboss must solve everything quickly. Because instability spreads fast inside criminal hierarchies. And here's the psychological truth few people talk about. The closer you get to ultimate power, the more people secretly imagine replacing you. Ambition grows strongest near the top. Which means the underboss lives in constant strategic awareness. Watching alliances. Reading body language. Measuring loyalty. Because one mistake can shift the balance. And above all of them, sits the boss. The Don. From the outside, it looks like absolute control. A man whose word shapes entire territories. Business leaders respect him. Politicians quietly cooperate. Rival families negotiate carefully. But the reality of this position is something few people understand. Isolation. The boss doesn't run daily operations anymore. He guides them, approves major decisions, maintains relationships across families. But distance from the streets creates a new danger. Information becomes filtered. Everyone below you wants to look competent. Which means problems are softened before they reach your ears. You command immense power. But you're never entirely sure which version of reality you're hearing. And there's another cost. Trust becomes rare. The consigliere advises you. The underboss executes your will. Captains respect you. But every one of them also understands something. If the boss weakens, the system will replace him. Because the mafia is not built around individuals. It's built around survival. Most people imagine reaching the top would feel triumphant. But many bosses describe something different. Loneliness. Every decision carries enormous consequences. Violence creates enemies. Peace can look like weakness. And the higher you climb in any hierarchy, the fewer equals remain around you. Power isolates. That's the final psychological transformation. At the bottom, you feared the system. In the middle, you tried to master it. At the top, you realize something unsettling. The system was never truly under your control. It was simply using you as its leader. So here's the real question. If you had the chance to climb this ladder, would you rise through the ranks for power? Or would you stop before the cost changed who you are? Because every hierarchy offers the same trade. Influence in exchange for peace. Control in exchange for trust. Power in exchange for freedom. And the deeper truth hiding inside every system like this is simple. Survival and dominance are not the same thing. Sometimes the smartest player isn't the one who reaches the top. It's the one who understands the game early enough to walk away. But if you want to understand the hidden systems that shape power, control, and survival, subscribe. Because the world is full of hierarchies like this. Some legal, some invisible, some are far more dangerous than they appear. And once you start seeing them, you realize something unsettling. The ladder is everywhere. The only question left is this: where do you stand on it?